Hey, it's the Empire, Geoboxing Empire, Backshot Boxing. Now, my boy Tim Bradley, man, Desert Storm Bradley, man. His most notable win was fighting Manny Pacquiao 3 times and getting that dub that pissed Pacquiao fans off. But Pacquiao ended up getting a third fight, man, and he ended up being Tim Bradley. But nevertheless, man, Tim Bradley had a inspirational career, so much so that he's a commentator on ESPN. Now that being said, man, Tim Bradley, man, he goes off on Oscar Valdez, and he actually says, and I quote, "I hope Oscar Valdez gets knocked out." Now I'll link the video in the description, man. He said this on Dante's Boxing Nation reported this, many others report this, but Tim Bradley was a big fan of Oscar Valdez, and now he's testing positive, and this is a really big deal because Tim Bradley is not only an influential commentator on ESPN, but I believe he will most likely commentate this fight for ESPN Fight Night when Oscar Valdez fights the opponent he set to face. Now, this is a really big deal because not too long ago, Andre Ward came out against Oscar Valdez as well, a commentator on ESPN as well, and said that, this is morals over money, and this is not what boxing is all about, man. This is not what we're going to do. And Andre Ward has come out against Oscar Valdez as well. And, this is giving me some Jim Lampley vibes where the commentator will have a quote unquote star fighter fight on their network. And instead of the announcers talking about the fight, they're just going to be trashing the fighter the whole time. And this is what looks like is going to be happening for Oscar Valdez when he's fighting this Saturday night, right? So this is really a bad look for Oscar Valdez, man. ESPN, it seems they're turning their back on Top Rank and their fighters. Mike Coppinger already talked about that, how he exposed Valdez. He's the one who broke the story, really, about the whole testing positive for the drug he would test positive for, right? For fentanyl, right? Fentanyl. So that being said, man, Oscar Valdez is set to still fight Robson Conco the 10th of this month, and that's wild stuff, man. I mean, there was no punishment for Oscar Valdez. There was no fine for Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez did not have to pay his opponent any kind of, some kind of fee for testing positive in the first place. It just defeats the purpose of having the WBC clean boxing program if you're going to be testing positive and the action is no action, right? Nothing happens. Not only did you not get punished, but you didn't get stripped, you weren't fined, you weren't given a suspension. Nothing happened at all. And this is wild stuff, man. This is, I put on hundreds of hours of watching boxing and follow the sport adamantly. And when you see something like this happening in the sport of boxing, it delegitimizes the sport of boxing. When you have these athletes testing positive for drugs and nothing's happening to them, right? And obviously this has been happening in Eddie Reynoso's camp, right? There's been 4 fighters who actually test positive for PEDs, right? Luis Neri used to work for Eddie Reynoso. He tests positive, right? Julio Cesar Martinez tests positive for something, right? Canelo tests positive for something, clenbuterol, and now Oscar Valdez tests positive. So it's the ped camp over there at Eddie Reynoso, and everyone's going off, man. Everyone's going off and trashing the whole camp because Canelo is fighting Caleb Plant, and Caleb Plant just went on a tear on Twitter and talking trash about Canelo to the point where Canelo said he'll pull out the fight if he keeps exposing Canelo Alvarez for cheating. He's done, because it's Caleb Plant was trashing Canelo, but he was really trashing the whole camp. Eddie Reynoso is getting trainer of the year, but everyone in this camp is testing positive for PEDs, right? The only people who didn't test positive, who are big names right now, are Andy Ruiz and Ryan Garcia. But people are even starting to say that my boy Andy Ruiz, they're saying he's dropping weight too quickly now. Now all eyes are on him now. They're looking at him like, hey man, you dropping that weight a little too quick. What's up with that? So now fans are even starting to question Andy Ruiz now. And I like Andy Ruiz a lot, but it's a bad look for Andy, him being in that camp right now. It's hot right now, right? And this is the problem with boxing, man. I understand that WBC is a Mexican organization, and it's to the point now where, I mean, I even heard of people like Josh Taylor calling him out. That's a whole nother video. But Josh Taylor is even trashing the whole Eddie Renenzo camp. So you got people from America calling him out, people from Britain calling him out, every reporter calling him out, and you know, ESPN in itself is calling out the camp, and just that nothing's happening about it. So that being said, man, it's a bad look right now, man. It's a really bad look right now. So we're gonna see how this whole thing plays out with Oscar Valdez. Like I said earlier, expect Tim Bradley and Andre Ward, if they commentate for the fight, to bring that drug testing situation up and to diminish Oscar Valdez's win if he even gets the win. But Tim Bradley said he wants him stopped, man. And Tim Bradley is a Hall of Fame fighter for sure. He had a lot of Hall of Fame fights, and he got some wins and he got some losses, but he completely dominated Juaniro Marquez when he fought him. It wasn't even close. It was shocking the way Tim Bradley beat Marquez. It wasn't even close, right? Pacquiao went to war with him 4 times, right? And the 5th time never happened, but Marquez ended up stopping Pacquiao, right, with a straight right. Hit Pacquiao cold to sleep. Tim Bradley completely outboxed and dominated Juaniro Marquez. It wasn't even close. So, man, yeah, we're going to see how this whole thing plays out with Oscar Valdez. I mean, what is Valdez and their team really going to do? They can't really trash Tim Bradley or Andre Ward because that's who they work for. They can't really bite the hand that feeds them. So we're going to see how this whole thing plays out. But understand this, you know, there's one thing that no one's really talking about, and that's that Oscar Valdez is not a superstar in the sport of boxing. And it makes sense for Canelos to get off because he brings so much revenue to the sport of boxing that maybe he can get away with the drug test popping dirty. But Oscar Valdez is not some superstar in the sport of boxing. And the fact that he's not getting punished, you know, a lot of people don't want to say, and they say code words to hide the racial truths that happen in the sport of boxing. But this is a Mexican organization protecting Mexican fighters, man. Suleiman, right, the president and CEO of the WBC, you know, he's been protecting these Mexican fighters, and he's been giving them more than leeway. He's been giving them favoritism, and it's disgusting. It's really disgusting. You know, if you're just a Mexican organization, or you're an international belt, or just a domestic belt just within Mexico, it's cool. But when you're calling yourself the World Boxing, organization, World Boxing Champion, and you over here giving regular people passes who are undefeated champions, who had the biggest fight of their career, right? Oscar Valdez beat, his last fight against Merchant, right? Miguel Burchett, right? That was the biggest win of his career, and he knocked the guy out, and he's known to have stamina problems. Next thing you know, it's testing dirty. Canelo Alvarez, when he beat Triple G, he tested positive before the Triple G second fight. And guess what? After he tested positive, he was walking down Triple G. Very, very unusual for Canelo Alvarez to walk down a power puncher who had one of the highest, he was like on the road to beat Bernard Hopkins' title defenses, right? I mean, wild stuff. So that being said, when you start getting at the highest level in sport of boxing, and then all of a sudden you start popping dirty, a lot of questions need to be asked. But anyway, let me know how you feel about it though, man. Like, comment, subscribe to the Empire. Geoboxing Empire. Peace.